I want to welcome you to another episode of Women in Faith series. This is entitled Women in Crisis. I want you to watch the short films and I want you to be able to take the advice from those films because it is very important, especially for women who get into serious different types of crises. That God is the solution to everything. He is the solution to everything. So I want you to sit down, relax, just watch these short films and be able to learn the lessons from it and apply them into your life. Thank you.
For 12 years, this woman suffered. She bled constantly. No doctor could help her. She spent all her money, but only grew weaker. She was tired, ashamed, and desperate. Then she heard people talking about Jesus. They said he was healing the sick. Something rose in her heart. Even though she was called unclean and the crowd was thick, she pushed through. All she knew was, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I will be made well. With trembling hands, she reached out and touched his robe. The moment she did, the bleeding stopped. She was healed. Jesus stopped and asked, "Who touched me?" Trembling, the woman came forward and told him everything. And Jesus looked at her with love and said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." In that moment, he didn't just heal her body. He restored her dignity, her name, and her future. The land was dry and cracked from famine. There had been no rain for a long time. A widow walked out to gather the last few sticks, worn down by hunger and grief. At home, she and her son had only a handful of flour and a little oil left in a jar. She told him, "This is our last meal. After this, we will die." At the city gate, she met the prophet Elijah. He asked her for water and a piece of bread. With tears, she explained she had almost nothing. But Elijah said, "Don't be afraid. Go and make me a small cake first. Then make something for you and your son. For the Lord says, the jar of flour will not run out, and the jug of oil will not get empty." Even with so little, she obeyed. She baked the bread for Elijah first, then for herself and her son. Day after day, the miracle continued. The flour did not run out. The oil did not get empty. God provided exactly what they needed. In the middle of famine, God used her obedience and her last to bring provision, peace, and life, not just for her, but for the prophet too. Wronged and abandoned, Tamar was married to Ur, then to Onan. Both died. She was left childless and sent back to her father's house. Denied justice, Judah promised her his youngest son, Shelah, but he never gave her to him. She was stuck, labeled, and forgotten. Crisis, moment years passed. Tamar had no husband, no children, no future, and no security. In that culture, that meant shame. She took action. Tamar decided she wouldn't stay in silence. She dressed differently, sat at the crossroads, and made a plan to get justice. Confronting Judah when Judah came, he didn't recognize her. She conceived a child with him to secure her right to a family line. Accused and judged, when her pregnancy was discovered, Judah called for her to be burned. But Tamar had proof: Judah's seal, cord, and staff. Vindicated and honored, Judah admitted, "She is more righteous than I." Tamar gave birth to twins, Perez and Zerah. Perez became part of the lineage of Jesus.
Have you ever been in a crisis situation that has made you so desperate that you just need a solution? Like the woman with the issue of blood. This is one of the most greatest faith stories. This woman had been labeled unclean for a long time. People didn't want to associate with her because of her condition, and she had spent vast amounts of money and resources just for her to get healed, but it did not happen. So what did she do? When she heard Christ, she said, "I'm going to go and I'm going to get my healing." Sometimes you need to push through to go and get your breakthrough. You have to push through. Imagine her pushing through that crowd. She knew that these people didn't even want her close, but she pushed through. Her desperation was to a point whereby she said, "If I only touch the hem of his garment." She did not want Jesus to talk to her or even to heal her, touch her and to heal her. But all she wanted was to to touch the hem of his garment. That was how desperate she was. And her faith healed her. Even Jesus acknowledged her faith. So no matter what situation that you are in as a woman, any situation of crisis that you are in, sometimes you have to push through the obstacles for you to get your ultimate healing or your ultimate breakthrough. You have to push through the obstacles. People will tell you no, push those people aside. Situations will tell you no, push those situations aside. Circumstances will tell you no, push those circumstances aside. This is not time for you to look back. It's time for you to focus on Christ. So focus on Him. Go straight to Him, just like what she did. Push all those obstacles aside and head straight to where your breakthrough or your point of healing is. This is desperation, but at the end it will yield results. So focus on Jesus no matter what situation you are. Remove every obstacle that is in your way. No matter what people say, no matter what people do, no matter what other situations or conditions arise from environment or whatever, just head on to Christ. I hope that you get this advice. The issue of the widow of Zarephath. This is a very touching story as well. If you look at this woman, this widow, she had only little oil and a handful of flour that was left for her to prepare the last meal for her and her son. And then after that, she was even prepared to die. But when Elisha came into her life and he said, "Can I have that little food that you have?" She had faith and she gave it to him. And he multiplied it, and they never went hungry again. They never ran out of flour, they never ran out of oil. So it's a crisis situation. Whenever you're in a crisis situation whereby you have little, have faith. Take that little and present it to God. Tell God that this is what I have. Can you multiply it for me? I have faith. And God will indeed multiply it for you, just like He did with the widow of Zarephath. If you know that your situation is dire like this, understand that faith leads to provision. Provision needs faith. So whatever that little that you have, make sure that you sow it to God, and definitely He will increase it. He will multiply it. He is Jehovah. He is the multiplier. He is the provider. The story of Tamar is one of the most saddest stories in the Bible, but it came out a very joyous story at the end. Tamar was widowed, no children, and she made one desperate move, very controversial even today that people to think of even doing such a thing. But because of the dire situation, she thought that this is the only way that she could solve the problem. So she had sexual engagement with the father-in-law, who did not know that she was there. She had to disguise herself so that she could give birth to an heir. And you know what? Even when people were poking at her when they found out that she was pregnant, and people were even wanting her to get hanged, because it was an abomination during that time for someone to be pregnant out of wedlock. And let alone, she was not even mentioning who the owner of the pregnancy was. So her situation was very dire. But at the end of it, God made it right. You see, sometimes you can be in a situation, people may say that it is awkward and it's not the right way of doing things, but God sees situations differently. God knows your heart. People don't know you like the way God knows you. People look at situations the way they want to look at situations, but God looks at your situation individually, because He knows you individually. He knows what is affecting you. So people's opinions do not matter to God. It's His opinion which matters the most, and it is His opinion which rules over your life. So don't listen to people. Don't try to look validity from people, but from God alone, like what Tamar did. And you know what? God surprised them all. So God sees the pain and He redeems it. She actually became an heir. The child that she gave to is also in the lineage of Jesus. Imagine turning such a story like this into something so beautiful and so wonderful. So I think you now see the kind of blood that Jesus came from. He didn't come from perfect people. So don't worry what people do, what people say. It's only God who redeems. That is the story of Tamar.